Boys, I've been thinking about why Dracula has been getting involved in so many multi-level marketing schemes. I think I figured it out. I think it's because he's a total sucker.
Why do Swedish boats have barcodes? So they can scan Scandinavian.
What did the bread say to Batman? Rye so serious.
Welcome to the Council of Nerds. I guess I'll say it. Dan, you're. Where were you?
Was I supposed to do that?
Yes.
He was like,
Welcome to the Council of Nerds.
The Council of Nerds.
I'm Dan. I'm joined by my hosts, Brian and Logan.
hello.
Hi. As always, top-notch quality from us here at the con. Dan, are you really eating something right now?
It's a Reese's.
It comes up on the audio, Dan.
It's fitting because
Actually?
not as much as it used to, but it's fitting because today we're talking about spoopy things and Halloween, and Reese's is a Halloween candy.
It's true.
Yeah.
The Reese's is also a ubiquitous candy that you can get all year round, but I definitely associate it more or less with Halloween.
Probably because of the orange and black color.
Yeah, I think it's mainly because of E.T.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the whole, it's Halloween, and then Reese's is like the main sponsor of that movie. So,
it's true.
But that actually, I did have a question. So today we're just talking about like nostalgic Halloween. Halloween is coming up. I love Halloween. It's up there in terms of my holidays. I wish you actually got a day off. When I was growing up at school, actually, you got the day after Halloween off.
Really?
Across the district. Yeah, every year. They took, how like they have to do a certain number of like teacher days where the teachers have to go and at least in my school district, they had to like take a day to get their coursework done or whatever other stuff they had to do, meetings and stuff. So they always lined up theirs to be the day after Halloween. And what was awesome is when Halloween was on a Friday, you had Monday off. So it was pretty nice, but it was also because they knew all the high school kids were going to be hung over, so they weren't going to be coming to school anyway. But you brought up Halloween candy, and I actually had a question for all of us on what is our favorite Halloween candy. That doesn't necessarily mean like if you walked up to a door when you were 9 years old, what was like the thing you wanted them to have at the door?
Wait. So that's two very different things, because when I was 9 years old, I liked this candy, and when I'm now old, I like this candy.
I guess because I'm on the nostalgia track, I'm thinking of when I was a kid. What did I want at the door?
Okay, that's fair.
When I went and knocked in my dumb costumes, we'll get to that later. Costumes we had for kids.
Oh man, I had some stellar costumes. Man, when I was a kid, walking up to a door. Weirdly, when I was a kid, okay, I guess it's not weird, but it's weird to me now because I don't really like this candy anymore. But when I was a kid, most kids seeked out the rich neighborhoods to get those king size candy bars and stuff. And if you didn't, you were stupid. So I always, so I always wanted, the Crunch Bar, the king size Crunch Bar. I liked Crunch Bars so much when I was a kid, and 100 Grands. I loved those.
100 Grand.
Those two were like my favorite when I was a kid. That has completely changed. I still like 100 Grands, but Crunch Bars I'm not too ecstatic about.
It's just chocolate Rice Krispie thingies.
Yeah. It's not gross. It's just not my go-to. And then also, before I forget, because I want to make this more of a habit at the beginning of the podcast, please like our podcast, subscribe to it, and keep us going, because we're going to keep going anyway. But we're on YouTube. Check us out there. Subscribe there so you know when every podcast is up, and check it out. And we shall continue with this candy question to Dan.
My candy taste has really changed over the years. I think when I was little, I was a big fan of like the gummy candy, like Skittles, Starburst, that sort of thing. But as I've gotten older, I haven't been a fan of those. So I think My dream candy. There's this one house in my neighborhood always had the king size bars or the normal size candy bars, which is like the holy grail. Back when you were a kid,
Mm-hmm.
used to getting things, this big, teeny tiny, and so I'd run there, and I would always want like Skittles, just a big pack of Skittles. Those are my favorite. And I'd throw them in my mouth, and I wouldn't chew them. I'd just let them sit there until they turned into one glob, and then I'd eat that. It was disgusting as a
That's
kid.
so gross, dude.
Yeah,
But I
gross.
will say,
But I love doing it.
with M&Ms as a kid, in like third grade, our teacher, as a reward, if we did, I don't even remember how we would get them, but he had like a jar of M&Ms, and he would give us like one M&M. And to make that M&M last as long as possible, I would just like suck. I would just suck on it. I wouldn't chew it or anything. And that was like that taught me what's the frugality? Is that a word? Frugality, to be frugal.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So thanks, Mr. Carner.
Rationing. Shout Mr. Carner,
Shout out.
number one fan.
I think we all have had those moments where like there's only one Starburst left in the bag, or there's only one Reese's cup left,
yeah.
and we just gotta like try to make it last. Or when you're at, for me, when you're at your grandma's and she gives you a Mentos, which I loved as a kid, and you're like, oh, don't chew it, don't bite into it because it'll disappear. Like you try so
disappears so
hard to like
quick.
make it last forever.
It's funny. Hold on, sorry. That kind of reminds me of. I don't know if you guys have seen that video of a rat. There's like a video of this raccoon who gets a like some cotton candy and he wants to wash it off, so he puts it in the water and it just like goes away and he's like, no, and he's like patting down and he's like, where'd it go? Where'd it go? And he feels so bad for that little guy.
Raccoons clean their food.
Yeah.
It's like a normal thing they do. So you put the cotton candy in the water and it just disappears. It's really sad.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's pretty much stayed the same. Dan, is that a saw?
Yeah, it was under my desk.
Someone trying to chop your leg off? Like, okay, moving on. I have never been in that. We're gonna lose viewership here. I've never been a fan of chocolate or peanut butter. So my wife's okay with it because she gets all the chocolate and peanut butter. But it's never been something that's been my cup of tea, and I've always been more of the fruity candy guy. That
Makes
sounded
sense.
differently than I wanted it to.
You are a pretty fruity guy, yeah.
Thanks. But if there was, Dan had mentioned the Starburst was probably the one that I was super stoked about, and then what my brothers and I would do was always trade. So if I ended up with a bunch of chocolate, my brothers liked it, so I would trade them for their Starburst. And if it was like the treasure trove for me, was saltwater taffy, but that didn't happen very often. There was one place in town that did like little individual packages of about 5 pieces of saltwater taffy. But my mom wouldn't let me have the individual pieces because you never know what's in there, razor blades and crap.
I saw this meme and it was like everybody please check your kids' candy. I found the door to hell in my kids' Reese's, and then it showed like a Reese's like bit into, and then it was just like a gateway to hell.
But I feel like I'm probably the only one that's probably stayed true. The only thing that was an exception that had peanut butter in it that I enjoyed, Abba Zaba.
What the heck is that?
Myself. You've never had an Abba Zaba?
I don't even know how to spell that.
I haven't even heard of that. I've heard of foreign candies more than I've heard of that.
Is it a palindrome? Is Abba Zaba a palindrome?
What's a palindrome?
No,
it's spelled the same way backwards and forwards.
There's no Z at the beginning.
Habba Zaba.
You really never heard of an Abba Zaba before?
It could be.
Well, that's 2 different words. It's ABBA space ZABA.
So
it's toffee, which I really enjoy toffee candies as well. Like I like caramel. I'm just not big into chocolates and stuff.
Were you raised in like the 40s or something?
Why don't you just leave me alone? But yeah, I like this stuff. I'm gonna post a picture.
At it. It looks like something our grandparents
Okay,
would eat.
I have seen that packaging, but yeah, I agree with Dan. It looks like something my grandpa got during the Great Depression when he got a nickel every 6
Your
months.
grandpa was in the Great Depression.
Dude, my
Okay,
grandpa's like
sure.
95. So yeah, he
Holy
was.
cow, that's awesome.
Yeah. Um,
I can't
Abba
believe
though.
I'm the only
that's
one.
that's a weird candy. You know what
This
candy
is too big.
I actually think it's I don't know if it's underrated, but um it's one of those candies I loved as a kid, but now it's just like I feel like it's gonna pull my teeth out, and so I have a hard time eating it. Are big hunks.
Mm,
Those things hurt my teeth so bad now, but they're so good.
feel the same way. Like again, this is gonna make me sound like an old dude, but I like bit of honeys and stuff like that too. But they're that same.
You and my
Uh,
mom should just have a conversation about candy. Do you like Idaho Spuds as well?
I don't know
Charleston Chew.
I love Charleston Chews.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, that's like literally my mom's list. You're like leveling it out. Oh,
There
that's
aren't a
so
lot of
funny.
things that I like that are chocolatey, but Charleston Chews are fake enough chocolate that like I'll eat a bunch of those. Juji fruits are probably some of my favorite ones now. Those again rip your teeth out. But if I'm gonna go the toffee route, Macintosh toffee from Canada is definitely my
Like the
go-to toffee.
I love Milk Duds now. Now I love Milk Duds a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, guys. I don't like chewy candy. I think it's like PTSD from having braces and not being able to eat any chewy stuff. And now every time it gets stuck in my teeth, I'm just can't do it.
I lost a tooth eating Milk Duds when I was a kid.
Nice.
It was pretty gruesome.
Caramel.
I bit down. Sorry, I bit down
You're good.
eating my Milk Dud, and then when I came back up and then bit down again, it was like
Tooth.
really hard, and I was like, "What the heck?" And I pull it out, and my tooth was like it was like a fossil inside of a rock, but it was inside of a Milk Dud instead, a chewed up soggy Milk Dud. And I didn't even feel it. Like it was just like, oh, okay. And then I was just gushing blood out of my mouth. It's pretty bad.
Fruit gushers.
I punched my brother's tooth out once when he was
Ooh.
a kid.
Wow. I lost my tooth drinking chocolate milk once.
What?
Was it chunky chocolate milk? Yeah, like
No. It
6
was my
weeks
little
old.
brother's, and I stole it, and he yanked it back. My tooth just went bloop.
Caramel apple lollipops.
Oh
yes or no?
yeah,
Lollipop?
yeah.
Yeah, I could do lollipops. Yeah, I
You
can't
can't-
do normal caramel apples.
Really?
No.
Oh, like if you took me to like what's the chocolate factory in the Cold
Rocky
Stones?
Mountain.
Yeah, if you gave me one of those or a caramel apple at the Werther shop in Epcot at Disney World,
Specifically
where they
there.
actually make the caramel in front of you, it is freaking insanely delicious. Yeah, I have braces right now.
You know
Spoiler.
why I'm not a
Uh,
huge fan
they're
of like
display those.
the apple on a stick with caramel on them? I don't like those
Why?
because I like more caramel than I like apple. So if you gave me
Mhm.
like apple wedges and then like a cup of
Some dip.
dipping caramel, I'm all for it.
Mhm.
But if it's like one of the big apples just dipped in some caramel, I'm like, eh.
See, my wife and I get them, and then what we do is we take them home. We don't eat them there. Like, you don't eat them whole. We just take them home, and we have, like, one of those. You push it down, and it splits the apple into wedges.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it takes the core out of the middle. And so you just have, like, the caramel that's evenly around. And it's usually, like, if you go to the right place, it's some pretty good ratios. End up being pretty tasty.
Do
What about the
you
ratio?
do you guys have like some weird Halloween stories? I got one that's not like spooky. It's weird in a totally different way that you won't even expect.
I mean, yeah, I have a funny Halloween story. When I was a kid, and I went to a church-sponsored haunted house. They turned part of our church building into what they called the Spook Alley, and it was run by the youth in the church. It was very fun. They did it every year until I was like 16 or 17, and then they kind of just stopped doing it because they didn't have the money to do it anymore. but I was an undead Viking for Halloween. So my mom kind of went all out for Halloween and did the whole like prosthetics and all that crazy crap for costumes. And so I had like the cornstarch and toilet paper that you use to make it look like an open wound, and we used red food coloring and stuff. But I had this fake beard on too that was like gray, and my hair was gray, and I had this stupid shielded sword, right? And so I'm walking through this haunted house, and there's this area that is called the polka dot room, and it was black lit, and it was just these black paint, like black light paint. What would you call that? Fluorescent paint.
Yeah.
And there were just polka dots, and then there was one or two guys in there that were in full body suits that had the polka dots on it, and so they were like blending into the wall.
That's
and
cool.
This guy jumped out and scared me, and I went whack, and I just smacked him in the face with my sword, and he was like, "What the heck, dude?" And I was like, "I'm so sorry." And so I just like, and that was the very beginning of the haunted house, right? So I just ran through the rest of it because I was so embarrassed. I didn't even see what the rest of the haunted house was. I heard a bunch of people going, "Did a kid just run by?" Like as I'm bolting past. Like,
Do I still get my
like
candy?
10. Like
You're secretly the Flash.
That's funny.
So there's my awkward Halloween story.
Mine's weird.
That's beautiful.
I don't even know. I don't even know if I should tell this, but I'm going to anyway because why not? So in elementary school, we had a I don't know what you call him, he was like the counselor or whatever of the school, some old dude, and every year for Halloween he had like a candy Halloween tax, and it was stupid, and I was like, I'm not giving you my freaking candy. I'm not gonna give you my candy. And then it got really weird because after elementary school was done, he got arrested for looking at bad children pictures. So
What?
yeah, that guy.
So Halloween's a really
as,
fun holiday.
So don't give your
Oh
candy to
my
random old
God.
guys.
No.
He dressed up as Herbert the pervert, but he went too far.
Got some candy in the basement. I can't ever remember his dog's name, but
I don't know.
I hate that character.
I haven't seen it in so long.
That guy creeps me out.
Well, Logan,
think
I'm
he's
sorry
supposed to.
that you had to go through that.
It's alright. It was kind of
but-
fun.
But kudos.
This
it
is
was
a safe
kind of
space.
fun. Kudos for not giving that man your candy.
It's my candy.
I
Don't
really
give
hope
him your
that's not
candy.
a euphemism.
Double meaning.
Dan, do you have any embarrassing and/or funny Halloween stories?
Yeah, I've got two. I can tell you about the time I learned how to play blackjack, or the time that me and my buddy did our best Survivor Man impression.
Survivor Man, please, for the love
Yeah.
of everything, Survivor
Yeah.
Man.
Okay. So you know how we were talking about going and trick or treating in nice neighborhoods, right?
Sure.
For the best candy. So we were like, oh, yo, our friend lives in this neighborhood, and it was a nice neighborhood. And so we went over there, and I'm from the southeast, back before they designed cities and stuff with logic in mind. It was just kind of thrown there, and so it was a jumbled mess. It looks like a kid scribbled on a map, and the neighborhood dude was like, yes, we want that. Neither of us had ever been
The
there
neighborhood
before.
dude.
Yeah, the neighborhood guy. That's technical term. He studies in
Civil
neighborhood
engineer.
stuff. That guy. So yeah, we were in there dressed up. I don't remember what I was dressed as, but we hit all these houses, and then we're like, oh, it's time to meet his dad over by the pool so he can pick us up. And so we're like, all right, let's head back to the pool. We start walking, and we're turning, and then we're like, this is a dead end. We turn around, and we probably go down. It felt like every single street. Felt like we were there for hours, but honestly, it was probably 15 minutes. But it got to the point where we were both really thirsty, and we're like, oh, we have his candy. We didn't bring any water because we were all dressed up and stuff. And being the South, it was 12,000% humidity. So we were like, walking around. We'd, do some secret agent moves. We'd knock on houses. It was getting late at that point. Like most people had turned out the lights, stopped giving out candy, sort of thing. And we'd knock on a house, see if someone was home. They'd come out and be like, "Oh, trick or treat," and then we go to the next house. And we were looking for one that was empty, so we could, sneak into the backyard, drink from their hose. Finally, we couldn't take it anymore, right? We were like, we're gonna die from thirst. And so I remember we like ran up to this house and we like laid in his front yard in the bushes next to the hose, and we turned it on. We were like drinking it, looking around, waiting for like the cops to come up on us because we're drinking water from someone's hose. And yeah, I think we did that like 2 or 3 houses before we finally made it back to the pool. I don't even remember getting to the pool. I think I was so dehydrated that like I was just in survival mode, one foot in front of the other type deal.
And your friend didn't make it? Is that?
He died.
No, yeah, I had to eat him. I needed the sustenance.
Man flesh.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Needed some protein to get through the rest of that ordeal.
Exactly.
Good
It was
grief.
tough.
Halloween as a kid is way more fun.
Yeah, it really is.
Unless you have some friends that are really into it. Like I was telling Dan and Logan earlier, I have some friends that are inviting my wife and I over for murder mystery masquerade dinner thing. And there's like 15 of us going, and we all got characters like a month ago, and so that kind of stuff can
That's
be
true.
fun.
Yeah.
But generally, ever since I've been an adult, my Halloweens have not consisted of a whole lot because I don't party.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't do that as an adult, Halloween's just kind of meh.
It's pretty meh. Yeah.
You can't go trick or treating. I was told I couldn't trick or treat when I was 12 by a neighbor. Said I was too old and they didn't give me candy. I threw an egg at his door.
That was my mom's rule. I wasn't allowed to go trick or treating after I turned 12.
That's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
I want candy. Give it to me now. Raw, raw.
Raw. That's Dan gets mad. He goes raw, raw.
Here's a question for you guys. Favorite costume you ever wore over the years?
Oh, got this one easy.
Dan's ready. Go for it.
This was back when I lived in Kansas. Also, fun fact, I used to live in Kansas. I don't think either of you knew
I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
I didn't even know that. You're my best friend, and I didn't know that.
I also used to live in Texas and Alabama. You probably knew that, at least the Alabama part.
I didn't know that.
I was born.
Who are you?
I'm Dan. I was born in Alabama. I think
technically
Colbert
your name's
County.
not Dan.
No, Sheffield County, right? Something like that. It's up by Tennessee or somewhere. I don't remember it. I was a baby, Favorite costume, right? I lived in Kansas. Spider-Man costume. Absolutely loved it. I wore it literally everywhere. Like I didn't want to take it off so much that I cut a hole from my mouth.
You were that
I
kid.
could eat. I could eat and drink water through it. I think I was 3 or 4. I wasn't in kindergarten yet, but like that was my everything. And I also had lightsabers, and so we'd clean up the basement in Kansas because you have basements because tornadoes like to come and pick up the rest of your house. So I remember, I'd like put on my Spider-Man suit and I'd clean. I'd be like, "Mom, I clean so fast because I'm Spider-Man." She's like, yeah, definitely. And then I would have lightsaber fights with my older brother and probably younger sister. No, she was been too young. My older brother in the basement, lights out, those old plastic, extendable lightsabers.
Mm-hmm.
They would break all of your fingers and knuckles. We'd fight those. I'd be in my Spider-Man costume. Don't think I ever won, but it was fun.
What you're saying is you were basically the Flash kid from Daddy Daycare.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually. Yeah.
That's so funny. Oh, I forgot about
that. For me, 2 years in a row. I don't remember how old I was. I was a little bit older.
Same costume 2 years in a row. How tacky.
Yeah. I was a head on a plate. So my mom would go all out for Halloween. So I was in a box. Literally, I was in a box, so I literally couldn't do anything. I had like my bag in my hand, and my arms were fully extended all night, so I had to turn sideways for people to put candy in my bag because I couldn't bend my arms because the box was too
You
big.
look like what's his name? That
Yeah, that guy.
Kanye music video with who's that
Oh
other dude?
yeah. Uh, where they're like square,
Lil Peep?
big square men.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about. And then my mom cut a hole, like cut a slit and then a hole in a paper plate and put it around my neck so that it would sit there. And then she like glued onto the plate like plastic grapes and like put like a bullet hole in my head and I was supposed to be dead. And then she like put
Shot
a
you?
hole. Yeah. And
Took
then
them
she
out
took like
back.
she took like a plastic tablecloth and cut a hole in it and would put it under it. So like it was a tablecloth and then the plate and the fruit and stuff. And so I just looked like a head on a serving plate at a dinner table or whatever. And I did that 2 years in a row. And I, for the life of me, don't know why. It was super uncomfortable. I loved it though. I was like, this is the coolest thing. I'm a head. Like, forget the headless horseman. That's some
Where's my
chump.
body?
That's some chump stuff, man. I'm a head who occasionally has hands that stick out of the tablecloth to get candy.
What else could you want?
It was great. I honestly, there aren't a lot of costumes that I remember because I don't have a super great memory, but that one definitely shines through. So
I had a lot of solid costumes. My mom was really into making cool costumes for us too. Never gory though. We were never like. My mom was like, she didn't like masks. She didn't like blood and gore. They were just super creative and crafty. Um, my one specifically, I remember one of my favorites was I was a pizza delivery boy, and I had like an apron on and stuff and a hat, and I had like a pizza hat and a pizza shirt or something like that. And then I put like flour on my face, like I made the pizza, even though I'm a pizza delivery person. But
right.
the coolest part about it was my like trick or treating bag was an actual pizza box that had a hole in it, and then my mom like glued a bag underneath. So when I opened the pizza box, they put the candy in the bag through the pizza box, and that was really cool. I
Nice.
was super young for
Nice.
that one. But my favorite one uh, is, I don't know how old I was. I was probably 10, 9 or 10. And this was like 2005. And so I was Napoleon Dynamite.
Nice.
I had this wig that was like curly, like this curly ginger sort of wig, which fits perfect because I'm a ginger. And then my mom made like a Vote for Pedro shirt for me, and then I had like jeans, but then I wore some like snow boots as like my moon boots. And then we had some like old glasses without the lenses in there, so I wore those. Um, and that was the year Napoleon Dynamite came out. And so I got tons of candy. Like people would give me extra candy just because they liked my costume. And I remember one house, like it was towards the end of like the trick or treating time, and I went to this house, and they were like probably having a party. They could have been drunk, honestly. I don't know, but they like opened the door and they're like Napoleon Dynamite, and they're like, oh, vote for Pedro. Oh gosh, and they're like doing this stupid thing, and then they like literally just took handfuls. Probably dumped like 6 handfuls of candy into my bag, and I was like, yeah, I was so pumped.
It's
And
the best day of my life.
yeah, and then this is like, so let's fast forward like 15, no, like yeah, like 17 years, give or take. um I'm 22 or whatever, and I have this friend, this man who becomes my best friend because he was a roommate of my friends, but I just hung out with them all the time. And we became best friends, and we were just talking about Halloween one year and like costumes and stuff. And I was like, "Oh yeah, like 2005, I was Napoleon Dynamite." And he was like, "Oh, did you have like a friend who dressed as Pedro or anything?" And I was like, "No, No, I was just me as Napoleon. And he was like, and he looks at me and he goes, dude, in I'm pretty sure in 2005, I dressed as Pedro, but I didn't have a Napoleon. And I was like, dude, I was your Napoleon from across the country. And he was like, I knew we were meant to be friends. I knew it. And yeah, so that's like, that's one of those like heartwarming friendship stories.
You look up at the moon. It's
A
like the
better love
same
story than
moon.
It's
Twilight.
like the same moon. Yeah,
Good grief.
that was my favorite.
is a patty.
What are you doing, Dan? What is that noise?
That was me singing.
No, the crumpling noise.
I was playing with my saw.
Stop!
Why do you have a saw?
I
saw
know none
it.
of you can see what's happening. I saw it. I know none of you can see what's actually happening, but he literally has a hacksaw. Like, I don't know why. I actually was a bro for Halloween when I was at school in Idaho still, the one Halloween I was there,
Bro.
because I didn't have a costume, but my friend had a really weird long mullet wig, and so I put on a tank top and some swimming trunks, and then put like a Coke in a beer cozy. I was like, oh, I saw it, like the whole day.
Nice.
You guys had completely different Halloweens though, because well, you like Dan said, he was like in the southeast, so it was actually pretty hot, right? Like the weather. And then Brian, you're from California. It doesn't get crazy cold there, right? I mean, it gets what, 60s around Halloween time?
At that time of year, like at night, when this like if the sun's going down and you're having a good wind coming off the water, it can get down to like 50, 40, but usually it wasn't very
Yeah.
bad. Like
That
I can't remember a Halloween where I was like, I'm cold. Like most of the time,
Yeah.
I could literally have been like, I think I was a shark attack victim one year where I had a surfboard that actually had a shark bite out of it. That my friend's dad had, his surfboard had gotten bitten, and
Dang.
my mom asked him if we could use it in the Halloween costume. He's like, yeah, that's rad. And so my mom did like the same kind of red food coloring, cornstarch, whatever, and did like a bite around my whole side. So
Oh,
it was
that's
just
cool.
like, and so,
A chunk.
but I was like 8, so I was literally in nothing. I had, well, not nothing, but I was in swimming shorts, like swim trunks, and then I had like just a little ankle strap that you
Yeah.
have from the surfboard, and I don't remember being cold, but
Yeah.
I was a pretty macho kid, so
You're probably fat.
Oh,
You're a fat kid.
I wasn't.
Fatty.
Dude,
No,
so
stop shaming me.
So I'm from Oregon, and so our Halloweens were always freezing cold, and that was one thing that always made me so mad because it would always in my child brain it ruined my costume because I'd have to wear like a jacket or like gloves, and I was like, I'm a pirate this year. Pirates don't wear jackets and gloves, like. But it was so cold. It'd be like low 40s, and then Oregon has some humidity to it, which makes it pretty cold. And then on top of that, it would rain sometimes, and that would be a dampener, no pun intended, of your Halloween.
Yeah, yeah, it never got that bad. There's an interesting factoid about my Halloween growing up. There was a house across the street from the house I grew up in that had a huge Halloween party every year with a bunch of adults, and they had a pool on the roof of their house. It was this very large home. I'm from Southern California. I'm not going to necessarily say
Bougie.
where, but a lot of wealthy people live there. I was not one of them. But these people had a pool on their roof and all this stuff. But the first 100 kids that trick or treated at their house got 5 king size candies for the first 100 kids. And we lived across the street from them, so we'd go at like 3 in the afternoon after we got home from school. Like, trick or treat. We're not even in costumes. And they're like, all right, rules are rules. They just hand over all this candy. It was pretty great. There was quite a few houses in the neighborhood that had king size candy bars. And then something else that was kind of cool is they would every once in a while there would be like a lot of people, because we were right up against this place. It's called the Back Bay. It's a nature reserve in town. then there'd be a lot of people in like costumes just walking around the reserve and stuff. And so it was just kind of like this costume parade thing. It was really interesting. I only remember it happening once or twice.
That's super interesting.
Well, that
So
was,
Brian, I got a
Okay.
question for you.
That was funny.
Okay,
that is
Dan.
funny story.
What are you gonna do if like this murder mystery party actually turns into murder? Like that's been on my mind like since you brought it up.
Especially since like you got the cards a month of like your characters, and it's like that's a lot of time for like the people putting this on to actually plan like a mass murder mystery.
Sure. Well, this is good advice for everyone.
Yeah.
Stay strapped or get clapped.
Oh,
So if you think I'm going in there with nothing,
Did you get a plastic gun for your costume?
No.
His gun's going in a costume. It's gonna have a little red tip on it.
Like a Comic Con.
I've never. I mean, I don't know. I studied to be a police officer for quite a while, so maybe that would come in handy. I doubt it, but I guess I would try to take control of the situation, and then in doing so, would unwittingly put myself in the direct path of one of the traps set up by the mass murderer and die.
Right.
Because that's what happens in every horror movie. The person who tries to help ends up getting their head cut off.
I think some solid advice
That's true.
is to just go after Colonel Mustard and say he had the candlestick in the dining room, because
I was gonna say dining room before you said dining room.
Whoa.
Are we the same person?
Whoa. Whoa. I have one last question before we end this podcast. I want to make it per the genre of the title of our podcast. And so think not long and hard about this question, but think about this question diligently. Okay. So, oh my gosh. So my question is for Brian and Dan and myself is I hate you guys so much. The question is, if you had no limits of money, you could choose whatever you want. What is the coolest, nerdiest themed Halloween costume that you would want or have or use or dress as? This is a question I think about a lot, because I like to think about what if I had a lot of money and what stupid thing I could buy with it. So if I label it with Halloween costume, oh man, endless possibilities.
I got mine.
Go for it.
Not that I think the technology exists, but let's say it does hypothetically.
Right.
Darth Maul with his spider mechanical leg
Oh.
from Clone Wars.
Dude, you exceeded expectations.
So I have it where it would actually articulate the legs, and I could move around and just be like super menacing and
creepy.
Have a bunch of like weird Sith graffiti on my abdomen.
Laugh to yourself.
Yeah, and just talk about Kenobi all the time.
Dude, that exceeds.
That would be super dope. So yeah.
That completely. I didn't expect that from anyone. So well done.
Yeah.
Dab. Dan, could you think of one?
I don't know. Kind of hard. I've never thought about it like this before. Power Ranger.
That's
it. All right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's pretty cool that you got spider legs. I got a Megazord.
Okay, we didn't say that. You just said Power Ranger.
You just said Power Ranger.
And so I'm just thinking
Power Rangers have Megazords.
I didn't. I was just thinking you were gonna get some like pink Power Ranger pajamas and dress up.
I would be the red one because he knows karate and
why
he's
wouldn't
cool.
you go
Don't
green
they all know
or black
karate?
from like from the OG Power Rangers? I always like the green and the black.
I was always a fan of the black and red Ranger.
I was a red boy.
Communist?
What? How is that funny, Brian?
Oh, right. Mine, I would, and this kind of goes along with Brian's thing of this isn't technically, the technology's not there, I guess. For me, it's like it's not physically possible, but I think it'd be really cool if I could dress as like Yoda, but be the size of Yoda. Oh, if I was like a little person, that's what I would either be, an Ewok or Yoda for Halloween, like every single Halloween. Not like making fun. I'm
Gotcha.
just saying, like, take advantage of that situation because it'd be super cool.
The opportunity's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I saw
Could be R2D2.
yeah. Have you seen the movie Paul, the alien one?
No.
Parts of it.
Okay, so like there's like this part where like there's like this little, they were at Comic-Con in California, and they see like this lady, this little person lady, and she's dressed as an Ewok in like a super legit Ewok costume, and it's so cool. And it makes, I don't know, for me it's like, man, like I wish I could do that. You know, like I can't be a giant Ewok, a 6'2" Ewok. I can't do that.
It's a Wookiee.
It's a Wookiee, yeah. I don't want
You
to
look
be
like a clown.
but I don't want to be a Wookiee. I want to be an Ewok, but I can't because I'm 6'2", and so that's the
Well,
dilemma.
you could be like the outcast Ewok that was like banished from their tribe because you're way too tall.
Base it
It's
off
like
of
Elf.
base it off of like my real life. I was banished because I'm a ginger, so I was just cast out by everybody because of the color of my hair.
Oh, you could
Is
go
that
as
why
someone who
you're-
has a soul for Halloween.
That's true.
Or a soul collector,
Oh.
and emphasize
Have a
the.
camera.
Gotcha. Your soul is
Isn't that
mine.
a South Park thing?
Probably.
Like
They make fun of
that's how
gingers
Ginger
all the
got your
time.
soul. They took your picture. This
yeah.
episode took an interesting turn.
It's a weird
I will
turn.
just say.
I
I
think
enjoyed it. It was more revealing. I now know Dan was born in Alabama. Fun fact: I'm going to blow the lid off this one. Dan's real name isn't Dan. So
No.
it's Frank.
No.
Dan's real name is Timothy. So
What?
there you go.
What?
Have fun
I
with
actually think
that.
I knew that and just totally forgot.
So at least I know that about Dan, but I didn't know where he was born. I didn't know he used to live in Texas or Kansas. So I've learned something about my best friend today.
That's cool. But yeah, I think we're at a good spot to end end this episode. That was fun. Spooky season in October. October is a fun season. I love seeing nerdy costumes. I love seeing little kids dress up as like superheroes, or other, Star Wars nerdy things. I love that. I love seeing adults dress up as super cool nerdy things as well, because adults tend to have more money, so they can waste it on cool costumes. And
That's half the reason I like going to FanX and Comic Cons and
Yeah.
things like that, is just to see how people go all out. But looking at how the month's going to shape up, we might have one more offshoot spooky episode.
yeah,
Because
Spoopy.
the month has 5-ish weeks,
spoopy.
just going up with our recording schedule.
Yeah.
So
So we'll figure that out.
stay tuned to that. And we will get better at mentioning all of this information at the beginning of the episodes. But
Yeah.
join us on Discord, the Council of Nerds Discord. We are on YouTube, the Council of Nerds. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, Podbean, a lot of other places. Support us any way you can or that you'd like to. Join the Discord, have a conversation with us. We are always looking for people who are wanting to add to the conversation. So if you know of anybody or you yourself would might maybe like to come on and do an episode with us, let us know. We'd love to hear your points of views on certain things that might be your expertise. So we're always just looking to reach out to a wider audience, and we're not in it for the money. We're just in it to have fun and talk about nerdy stuff. So clearly we're not in it for the money, or else joke's on you.
I mean, I'm in it for the money. It's not
I'm in it for the money.
I'm in it for the money. It's not going too well, but I'm in it for the money.
Well, we've made like what, $2?
I think we got 3. I think we're at 3 or something like that.
Dang, that's $1 each.
Dude, yeah. Income. But yes, once again, thank you so much, and stay spooky, my friends. Goodbye.
Bye.
Stay spooky. Bye.
The Council of Nerds.